Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life.
Let's talk about 3 assumptions that I see people make all the time when they're starting a design career. So I want to make sure that you aren't making these assumptions. That way you make some different choices as you are moving through and creating a design business. Okay, so here is the first one, and I have to use my phone because I actually have this. These assumptions are sitting on my Instagram feed, which is just at Carina Gardner if you want to follow me over there. But the first one is motivation in the beginning does not lead to mastery in the middle. Now, what do I mean by that? That means if you're very excited as you are jumping off to create this design career and you think that's going to last, then I am here to tell you that mastery in the middle is the hardest part about this business. Everyone gets very excited at the beginning. They're making all the things, and then they're not seeing a lot of sales, or it's difficult to make sales at the beginning, and then they're frustrated, and then they kind of, it piddles off, or it's kind of they continue to make it their side hustle. I'm here to tell you that the small things that we do day in and day out, that is totally boring, like making sure and getting on and doing your production files, zipping them up and uploading them, things like that. The boring stuff, that is what makes successful design businesses. That's the thing that gets people really building something special. And if you can get through that, it's not motivating. It's not even fun. If you can get through that, you can have a successful design career. Okay. All right. The second one is that you will not be able to figure out how to make money from either cheap memberships or YouTube videos. This is one I personally, you guys know, I put some Illustrator videos on YouTube just to get people started. If you're kind of like struggling and you want to kind of play around and stuff, that's not the way you're going to learn how to make sales. In fact, I rarely see anything about sales except for on my own podcast on the internet when it comes to relation to design. Why? Because most designers who teach do not know how to make sales. That's the thing that's very fascinating. Or if they do, they don't understand the strategies, or they're stealing the strategies from people who have made sales, right? Most of them are teaching skills. And there is nothing wrong with that. Skills is a very important part of a design business. We have to learn skills. But the part that's difficult is teaching sales and understanding how to make sales on a consistent basis. And so I just want you to be aware, there is that assumption that you can learn anything you need to on the internet. It's just not true. And I have been teaching. I teach on this podcast. I teach on my YouTube channel. And I will tell you that I do not tell you the juicy bits that go in my program. Why? Because people paid for that. And so I want to make sure I'm giving them individual advice that gets them to where they need to go, right? Information's not free, just like college is not free, right? We pay for things like degrees, certifications, and education. And that's just still the way of the world. It's not something that has changed. So and for the most part, I will say this, most of the people out there that are looking to create a design career, they need motivation. So it is very, very, very hard to stay motivated. And just like I said, motivation at the beginning does not lead to mastery in the middle. It's all those little steps of things that we don't want to do that are not very motivating that brings that kind of mastery. All right. And number 3, this one I love. That you do not need a design education to become a designer. I think this is the one I feel like I've been fighting for several years that people don't, even before my program, you guys, like even before I was selling anything in the digital space for teaching, is I was always surprised when people would come to me and ask to be an intern. And oh my gosh, the number of people who wanted to intern for me because they wanted to know how I was making money as a designer. And I was like, I don't do internships. That's not something that I do. And it's because they were looking for someone to give them a free education. Education is not free. It's just not. Whether you're going to university or you're joining an online program Like all of the good stuff happens, and I say this in Design Bootcamp, behind a paywall. That's why bootcamp costs money, right? If you come to bootcamp, it's happening behind a paywall at a very, very low rate, so we can give you a little bit of information to get you going. And that's the thing about design. Everybody thinks that if you're just talented enough and you're artistic enough, then you can do it. Now, here's the thing. You can do it. Absolutely. I think I can teach almost anyone to become a designer. That actually is one of the things I really, really believe. If you are willing to sit down at a computer next to me, I could teach you how to design and how to become a good designer, right? But I don't have time to do that to everybody in the world for free, correct? Yeah. So anyone who's worth their salt and know what they're doing, they're going to charge a bit, maybe even a lot. As some of you know who've come to a boot camp or know how much our program is, we don't make it cheap on purpose because we want people who are truly committed, okay? So these are assumptions I see out there. Don't let them be assumptions that you are making as well, that you're going to just somehow doggy paddle your way and make it happen. It is very, very difficult. What instead I'm going to recommend to you is go out and try to get the things that I've already discussed. Do pay for the cheap programs. Anything that you can afford that you can do them. Absolutely do them. The more education you do on yourself, the better your program, your business will be. That's all there is to it. The more education you give yourself, that means reading books. I read a lot of books. I also reread books. Anything I think is good, I'll reread it and take notes in it. It always makes me laugh when I see some of my notes after I've read a book like 3 years later. And anyone who is worth their salt, go learn from them. Not just me. I think there are lots of great teachers out there, lots of people that can inform you, and especially skill-wise, I think there are some amazing skilled designers out there that you can learn from. So my recommendation always is to be looking for educational opportunities. Those are the people who are moving forward and learning and growing. Now, if you're past all the assumptions, which I hope you are, that you're like, you know what, I'm going to figure out ways to do this. What I really want you to be thinking about is how do you implement your design business in a way that it does make profits. That's the thing you're going to be thinking about, right? Not just how to get skill. Guess what, you guys? Skill is the easy part to get. That's what we teach at a 4-year university. That's what you will see almost every online class out there teach. You can see there are tons of places where you can learn just Illustrator. If you want to just learn Illustrator, by all means, there's a gazillion ways just to learn Illustrator. Do I think those are the right ways for designers? Not usually, and I'll tell you why. If you've read my book, Design, Profit, and Prosper, you know I talk about the good, better, best model. Good is mastery of the software. It is the lowest level of being a designer. Being a great designer, you have to go all the way to best. And I highly recommend, if inexpensive, once again, education, go grab the book. It's designprofitprosper.com. And it has a link to Amazon, so you can get it there and you can read some reviews there of the book. It's one of the few books I know where we incorporate design and sales, and we're talking about those two things together and what really makes people make it, basically. So go check that out and go check out the good, better, best model, because I talk about it there on the micro and the macro level. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I love having you here. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Carina Gardner. If you're on the podcast, I would love a review. It really helps our podcast, and share it. Please, please share it. We love when you are sharing, especially those of you who are creatives and maybe not even in the design field. We have lots of people who aren't in the design field listening here, and you have a creative friend who needs to hear this. I talk to a lot of people who are in creative fields adjacent to design, and the information here is just as relevant for the music industry or the YouTube industry or anything video editing for the creative industry. A lot of it is very similar. So hopefully that helps you, and I'll see you guys soon.
Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.